Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And I was so fucking gun-shy trying to open up this episode.
What?
I said I was gun-shy trying to open up the episode last week. I couldn't do it. I'm like, bleh.
Whatever, man.
I know. It's just
clearly it's just us this week.
I know, but still, it's just, when we
have company, you get all slick and shit.
No, I don't know. I think I'm always fucking slick. I don't think it's just with company. I'm always this way. I mean, you just surround me so much, you just don't notice it. That's all.
Oh, I don't notice the greatness that is you.
Right. It's hard to notice the sunshine when it's always on you. You know, it's just when you step out of the shade, then you notice it. But yeah.
So at least you're comparing yourself to a big ball of gas.
A big ball of steaming hot gas.
Dirty gas.
You know what? Fuck it, man. I've been called far worse than that, so I'll take that. You know what? That might be the episode title. I'm not going to put anything into your mind, but
all right, yeah.
Hot steaming. I completely forgot what I just said. So anyhow,
right. Whatever. I'll figure it out.
steaming ball of something, but yeah. So it is. It's just us again. So everyone, sorry. Got to put up with us again this week and next week, but
that's right.
I don't know. I think we got some shit to talk about. It's beginning of the month, so
always.
I was reading. We've got the 10-step to talk about. I want to hear about how Cinema Wasteland went last week. Yeah. We got a thing going on with Hazleton that we set up. So we got some shit. Plus my normal. I wrote down some shit. I got some stuff. So I think we're okay. But I tell you what, man. I had pants on for the first fucking time today. I know that sounds bad, but I mean like jeans.
Like ever?
Like ever. I never wear pants anymore. No. But I walked outside this morning and I had, like a lighter pair of sweats on. I'm like, it's fucking cold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not really. It's, it was in the low to mid 50s, but, compared to that first, first fall-ish weather. So whatever. Yep. But I like fall, but it leads into that fucking evilness of snow and winter, which I'm not a fan of. So
yeah, it's all right.
I know it is what it is, right? Is that what they say?
Mm-hmm. I've heard that somewhere.
I know, and it's. I used to get so. Do you remember that? I used to get so mad at that saying.
Yeah,
it is what it is, but. It really was. It was a. If you think about it, I mean that there's just it's a statement that's telling me that I have no control, and I know I didn't like that. No,
of course. What do you mean? Yeah. I'm a big steamy ball of gas. Don't you know who I think I am?
Big steamy ball of hot gas. But yeah, and I think that's what it was. It may have been. Or it may be since we've been doing this that we were talking about that, and then I just accepted it. Now I use it all the time, so I'm like, yeah, fuck it, man. It is what it is.
It is.
So yet again, even if we've helped no one, I've grown.
Exactly. Well, hopefully we're growing. Yeah, it's.
I'm a better human being than I was whatever it was 18 or 19 months ago.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the point, man. And, this thing be damned, we still need to do it.
Right. I'm actually surprised that you agreed with me when I said I'm a better person. You normally you'd be
Well,
like, yeah, whatever.
yeah, yeah. Again, that is the point of this shit. Is we're supposed to slowly but surely get a little better every day.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I'll write this down. I'll let you do your reading first. But
Yeah.
I was a dick today, and I want to tell you about that. Okay. Driving. All right. I just wrote, seriously, I had to write myself a note because I want to remember that. I just want to, it's fun when I'm a dick and I laugh about it. So,
Right.
okay. So, how about that reading, man?
How about it? How about it? Well, didn't have anything picked out, so the way I prepare is, 5 minutes ago I grabbed my book and cracked it open, and this one jumped out at me, so here it is. It is September 18th. It is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. J.K. Rowling. Rowling, whatever. Harry Potter chick. Many people with great abilities make bad choices. We just need to look around the rooms at meetings and we will see it. As addicts, we regularly choose alcohol or drugs over our family, higher power, and community. Our choices also affected our abilities. Then at some point, we lost our choices, and our illness made our decisions for us. That is what addiction is, the loss of choice. Recovery gives us back our sense of choice. Today, we make different choices. We choose to go to meetings, even when we don't want to. We choose to do service work. We learn a new way to walk through the world, a more human way. People see that we're making new choices, and over time, they come to trust us again. This is another gift of recovery. Prayer for the day. Higher power, I choose to turn my life and will over to you. Please give me the wisdom to make good choices. Today's action says actions because this is a program of action. Today, I will make a list of the everyday bad choices I have made during my using years. Then I will ask myself, am I making the same choices today?
So that last part, you want to make a list? I was reading
Podcast
that.
is only an hour and a half long, man.
I know. Well, it's kind of like when you did your immense step, just everyone, so we could
Right.
do, the list could be just everything. What were your bad
pretty
choices? My bad choices were everything,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man, pretty much.
Could you imagine? I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, could you imagine actually sitting down and trying to write out a list of all the bad choices that you made while you were drinking? I mean, seriously.
Right. Again, dwelling on that shit, I'll fucking end up killing myself.
Right.
No, but yeah, I mean, and clearly not every choice we made was bad, but but the deeper we got into our disease, the more bad choices we made. And like the reading says, at some point we lost the power of choice, and all those bad choices we were making were just the way we fucking lived.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that was the first thing that I wrote down was choices show what we are, which I thought was good, and then our choices are lost. I think it said over time. Recovery gives us a sense of choice, and people trust us again. So, but the first thing, I mean, choices show what we are. I mean, it's actions, right? That goes back to everything we ever talk about. The things that we did or did not do, clearly defined our character before we got sober, right? I mean, that's kind of
it defines our character today.
Right.
You got no choice, man.
Right.
The things that we do are what we are. Absolutely. Not what we say and not what we think, but what we do. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and there was I've seen the meme before, but there was a meme that just popped up on Instagram or Facebook the other day, where it showed a lion. You've probably seen it before, but it said, "I thought of giving up, but then I remembered who was watching," and it shows a little little cub there,
right.
which
Right.
is it just kind of made me think of that when we were talking about that because I mean our kids, our family, all those
Mm-hmm.
sort of things, I mean, watched us, and thankfully now, hopefully, I mean,
Right.
again, we don't necessarily always make the best choices. We're not saying all the right things all the time, but
No.
they're sure as fuck better than it was,
Uh-huh. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But so
And
trusting
I
us,
like I like where it says, recovery gives us back the sense of choice.
right?
We've got to continue to remember that, we're we still are what we are. And yes, I have the sense that I can make choices today. I can choose to wake up in the morning and do my readings and say please, and I can choose to go to a meeting, and I can choose to be a part of the community, being part of something bigger than myself. I do have those choices today. But if I stop doing those things, if I choose not to go to the meeting, I choose not to wake up and do my readings, and I choose not to end my day by saying thank you, and then I will lose the choice again. So I've got to remember that, yes, it is a sense of choice, but that disease is still there, man. And if I choose not to do these things that keep me away from that first one, I don't have a choice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that they put that word in there. It's, recovery gives us back our choice. No, it gives us back a sense of choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what was funny was as you were reading that, I wrote that down and I had to look at it again. I'm like, wait a sec, did I write? Because my handwriting is fucking terrible to begin with,
Uh-huh.
always, and especially when I'm trying to write quick notes like that. But I
Sure.
had recovery. I'm like, serve of choice. I'm like, the fuck I'm like, oh, sense of choice. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was I think that's an important distinction, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a part of step 10 when we get to talking about it tonight that I
Yeah.
thought that there's a particular word in there that I didn't always pick up on,
Mm.
but that just kind of popped into my head, reminding me of the same type of thing, and it is it's a sense we realize that we have the ability to make choices, but yeah, there's still
Right.
we still have accountability, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we still have to remember that, we are powerless. That first step shit.
Right. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
was, and the other thing I was just thinking of when I picked up Kathy from the airport the other day,
Right.
and also again, I probably everyone doesn't know, but the short story is she was flew into Barcelona, was taking a cruise. She ended up going on a
Mm-hmm.
hike and ended up slipping and fell and broke her
Yeah.
wrist.
In France, I
Yeah,
believe.
in
Yeah.
in fucking France,
Right.
and this would have been Monday, and she wasn't supposed to come home until this coming
The following
Tuesday.
Wednesday, or yeah, something like that. Right.
Tuesday or Wednesday, I forget now. But
Yeah.
so all said and done, they got her. She was able to flip her on her flight. She came back on Wednesday. But when we were driving back, and I don't know, whatever it was, I had told her, I'm like, oh, I waited at like the rest area by O'Hare, and I said, yeah, I said
Mm-hmm.
I left early because I saw when your flight was coming in. It didn't know, and basically I was at that rest area for like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, "Oh my God, you waited." She's like, "I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "Don't worry about it,
That
man. I mean, I don't. You never know. Just because
right.
Google fucking Maps says I could be there an hour and 23 minutes doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
I will be, and all that stuff."
Right.
So, but then she's like, I feel bad, kind of asking you or anyone else to pick me up. I know it's kind of a pain, but the parking and whatever. Expense wise, she had looked it up. It wasn't that bad, but it would have been outdoor
Mm.
parking. And she's like, I didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. I said,
Right.
She's like, I said, none of this to me. I said, even prior to me being, you know, even when I was a dick previously, before I got sober, more of a dick. I'm
More of a
like,
dick. Thank you.
yeah. Again, I've grown, Mike. I'm getting a
I
little
know.
better.
I know. I
more of a dick. I
right.
correct myself. I
I
realize I
know.
I have a sense of choice, and I'm choosing to.
Right. Be less of a dick.
Right, but I told her, I'm like, even then, I said I never would consider anything like that, taking her to the airport or doing something like that for
Mm-hmm.
her to be like out of the ordinary. I mean, and it's weird because we always talk about when people ask us, do you want to go? Do you want to be part of? Do you want to do? And it's
Mm-hmm.
always no, no, no. But
Right.
I really, the only thing that I mentioned to her, I said, just let me know, give me enough time so I can figure out with my work thing and whatever. But I'm like, other than that, I mean, it never even crossed my mind. But
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Again, people still, they just in general, don't want to, I don't know, have
Yeah, they
people
don't.
help
Yeah,
or anything like that.
exactly. Or they don't want to be in a
A
position.
burden.
Yeah, or right. Whatever.
I couldn't think of the word. God damn. I don't
Right.
want to be
Impose
burdensome.
on me, please.
Right. But seriously, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I mean,
Yeah.
even coming out of there, we hit the same type of traffic as we did on the
Mm-hmm.
way back. It took us a couple hours to get back, but we were back here by a little after 5 and stopped to grab something to eat, and it's all good. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that ended up popping into my head, but no, I mean that was I like that reading. I really do. I mean
Mm-hmm.
every single part of it. Because all these things we do, and all these things we lose, and slowly gain back, and how quickly they can be
Uh-huh.
gone again, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But so do you want to anything else on the reading? Do you think, or you good on
No,
that, or?
I think we covered it.
Okay, the reading horse has been beaten to death so far.
It has. Whip that bitch.
Whip that horsey bitch. Well, why don't we, since you hopefully, do you still have your book in hand or
Yeah.
close?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
let's jump into step 10. I mean, it's I know we don't really have favorite steps. We went over that once, but
Mm-hmm.
I love the shit out of step 10. I actually really do. So
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk about it.
All right. Well, step 10 of Alcoholics Anonymous continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
So, first thing, and this goes back to what I was talking about a minute ago with the word when that's in there.
Uh-huh.
Because what it says, it doesn't say we might be wrong, we could be wrong. It's a possibility.
Right.
It's
If we're wrong.
yeah. It says when. Yeah, and I'm just kind of like.
When.
So here's the funny part. And this is what again, revelation at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
when I moved back to Wisconsin, I moved to Madison, and I was 3 years and 3 months sober at that time. Started going to a meeting there. So either, I don't think it was like one of the first meetings, but probably within the first few months to a year. So again,
Mm-hmm.
3.5 to 4.5 years sober when I figured this fucking word out. We're in this room, and it's it's a big book. I forget if they did a topic. It doesn't even matter. But we were talking about step 10 that night or whenever it came up. And this guy, he's just talking back and forth, talking to my sponsor. And he goes, yeah, my sponsor pointed out, that it says when we're wrong. And, everything we were just talking about. And I looked up on the wall because they had the steps up on the wall.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Okay. So once again, between at a minimum, I was 3.5 years sober.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I've heard the steps, read the steps, talked about the steps,
Right.
all that
Mm-hmm.
different shit. And I never noticed that fucking word. But it's hugely important. And now every time that I read that or hear about it or anything like that, I
Right.
actually emphasize that word in my head because it's so important. It tells me that you will be wrong. You're going to be wrong. What should you do? You're going to fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
What should you do?
Yep.
But yeah, it fucking blew my mind. I just say I don't know why it took me so long, but
yeah, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly.
Yeah, everything with this, and I don't mean it in a bad way, because I don't think I could have handled any piece of this program, any part of this program, or anything that I've gained or got back, or anything I've accomplished, any movement I've made in this. I don't think I could have handled quickly. I would have fucked it up. I would have figured out a way to fuck it up.
Oh yeah.
So I know
absolutely.
Everything's come slowly to me, and it's fine. To begin with, it pissed me off, but
sure.
but now I'm just kind of like, it didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
It will.
It will. Yeah. Exactly. As long as I keep doing the next right thing, it's all going to be okay.
So, going back to, and again, you had other obviously times when you had bits of sobriety and different programs and things like that. When do you remember when you first, and this is just curiosity, when you first were introduced or knew of or even tried to practice an inventory step like that?
A 10th step?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I had periods of dryness I never had sobriety
That
before.
just
I never
sounds
did.
terrible.
I know. Well, it's the opposite of moist.
I know.
Um,
I know.
but yeah, it was arid. It was not. It was not sober. Yeah, again, yeah. I mean, my longest in my adult life without taking a drink was like 11 months, but I sure as fuck wasn't sober,
Right.
not by a long shot. I mean, seriously, looking back on it, um, I I wasn't trying to be a better person. I wasn't trying to do any of it. I wasn't working a program at
Right.
all. Um, I was going to meetings and parroting the words. And as we said not more than 10 minutes ago, the words don't mean shit.
Right.
It's the actions. Yeah. So no, when I first started working, daily inventory, pretty quickly at the Keating Center. I mean, certainly within the first 90 days. I know, I wasn't anywhere near working a 10 step the way I should. And, because I hadn't done many of the other steps, most of the other steps leading up to it. But I was starting to get into the habit practice of, looking back at my day and my behaviors. And, again, I wasn't any good at it, and it wasn't, I wasn't doing it right at all, but I was starting to try to look at that. And, yeah, so, pretty early on, I started trying to get myself ready to actually be able to do a 10 step.
Right. Well, and I know we've talked about it before that I mean the steps in clearly we believe in this wholeheartedly, and that the steps are in order for a reason and have to be
Mm-hmm.
worked through again that first time, one
Right.
step at a time, literally.
Right.
But you're going to start doing some of these things,
Mm-hmm.
if nothing else, gradually, you're going
Yeah.
to be a better person. You're going to help people, which is, involves the 12th step. You're going to have a
Right.
more of a conscious contact, which is the 11th step, which we'll get to next
Mm-hmm.
month. And then,
Right.
hopefully if, like you said, if we're doing the right things on a daily basis, there is
Mm-hmm.
just naturally we're going to reflect on things, and we're not going to say some
Right.
things like we used to, and when we might even,
Mm-hmm.
apologize along the way. We do
Right.
something weird, we might actually walk back to somebody and promptly admit that we were wrong, but
Uh-huh.
maybe not formally doing that. So,
Right.
and I remember being in the dorms. I mean, like when we were halfway and
Right.
saying my prayers at night, and again just laying in my bed with however many other
Mm-hmm.
fucking people were in that dorm,
Right.
stacked up like cordwood. Didn't you used to say?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Scratching and farting.
And it just is it's kind of a fun recap if nothing else. And the Keating Center at that time, when we were in there, how many people? 50, wasn't there?
Oh yeah. Halfways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
was,
Literally stacked up. It was bunk beds.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
a dorm was one big open room, if I remember correctly. Is that
Right.
okay?
Yeah. That's where I was at. Right.
And then downstairs there was a wall, but I mean kind of the larger
Yeah.
opening. It was kind of almost like
Mm-hmm.
a great room ish, but half the wall was kind of partitioned off. Not partitioned, but then
Right.
again. But yeah,
Yeah. There's a bit of a corner.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
in the back of the one areas was another bedroom where Bob was,
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Yeah.
guys who was helping kind of run things there with Marty.
Right.
But
Kind of an assistant
yeah,
director dude. Yeah. Right.
but yeah, literally, there was like a couple of single beds here and there, but most of them were bunk beds. And literally, I mean, it
Yep.
was just, yeah, people just, I mean, there was more people in a dorm, so you probably had 30 up there and 20
Mm-hmm.
downstairs, I guess. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, and these are all people that the halfway thing is from day one until usually at the most day 90.
90. Yeah.
So
Right.
these are all fucking. I mean, granted, once you get to that hopefully 45 to 60-day period, people are settling down a little bit, but
A little bit.
there's this
Right.
constant flow of just it's a fucking madhouse. But
Yeah. Right.
so laying down at night and trying to do these prayers, which is where I
Mm-hmm.
was leading into.
Right.
First of all, I was And still to this day, my prayers are my own. I've said it 100 times or 1,000
Mm-hmm.
times. I do them on my own. I don't do them in front of people. I'm not embarrassed, but it's mine. But at that time, I was, even though I knew everyone, was probably doing
Mm-hmm.
some prayers, I wasn't ready to make it open or anything like that. So I would
Right.
just lay on my bed, kind of cross my hands on my chest like I was going to sleep, do my prayers and this and that.
Yeah.
And I know at that time I was doing a recap of my day. I don't remember if I looked at it as a 10 step, but I
Right.
know I was doing it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean that again, very early, 30, 60 days, I was doing that sort of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
And even back to my dad, I remember I didn't know it as a 10 step at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
he always talked about, taking an inventory of his day and an inventory of himself and all those sort of things, which,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. And I mean, I've mentioned this before that I knew enough, or felt like I knew enough. Now I think I knew enough about AA, to kind of make myself dangerous and compare myself and blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. But um,
Right.
as the longer that we've been sober, I mean, I have these memories. I'm like, fuck, that's what he was talking about.
Uh-huh.
And he was never one to, the coolest thing with him is, as much of again, a dick that he could be in a lot of different ways. And we had our moments, years of moments, but
Uh-huh.
he never tried to push any of that on either one of us,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. And, thinking back now, how his personality was, he had his ways and he had his opinions, and he was probably more of a stand on a rooftop and you know uh, probably judge people more so than we do, that still
Mm-hmm.
drink, but he
Mm-hmm.
never tried to push it on us, which, again, thinking back, I mean, it's kind of cool just knowing how he was.
Right. Yeah. Well, he got the attraction rather than promotion part.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he did. Yeah, he did. He
Yeah.
was judgmental, again, of other people, but he wouldn't do it
Sure.
necessarily
Mm.
openly. He
All
wouldn't
right.
walk down the street and be like, "Yeah, you fucking idiot." But when they
Right.
when they walked away, he'd be like, "That fucking idiot," that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well,
Which,
I can't say that I don't do that.
right. Well, and I was just gonna say this, not that we haven't been or couldn't be or are not
Mm.
familiar with that type of behavior. So, it
Mm-hmm.
happens. But so that once I started, or we, started to get into, everyone, kind of working through and explaining that sort of thing, it didn't,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if maybe it was one of the easier steps for me to do, because at least the
Mm-hmm.
inventory at night, but
Right.
the promptly admitting it when you're wrong, that's
Mm.
still, I mean, I don't have I
Mm.
have a problem doing it, but it's still, I
Right.
notice every time I have to do it, and sometimes it's still in my head like a child, like, fuck.
Yep.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, as soon as the fucking words come out of your mouth, you're like, God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I fucked up. I got to fix this now.
yeah.
Fuck.
Or, we've talked about stories on here before about walking back to somebody and being like, you know what, I said this and I didn't mean it that way. And, the
Right.
person's like, oh, it wasn't a big deal, or I know
Mm-hmm.
you're upset, but, I didn't take offense to it. And, I always think, well, fuck me. I didn't have to say anything, but I did.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I
But
did.
well, yeah. That again, that's the selfish part.
Mhm.
I got to get this shit. I got to clear it up for me.
Right.
Yes, I know it wasn't that big of a deal to you, and I'm glad it wasn't, because I'm not that big of a dick anymore that I'm going to fucking hurt you that bad. But yes, I got to make it right for me, so I can, when I lay my head down at night, I can fucking go to sleep.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I know that that's brought up in, again, in readings and all those sort of things when the 10 step is talked about. And I don't remember if we ever actually openly talked about this, but can you remember any time, even in recent years, in the last handful of years, even, that you've sat down at night and something popped in and you're like, fuck, man, I owe an apology to this person, or I got to try to make this right. Have you had that
Mm-hmm.
happen at night?
No.
And I don't think
No.
I have either.
Yeah. It's kind of fucking nice.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
if I have, I don't remember it, so that means it's probably been a while ago,
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Again, promptly. So again, selfish. When I get to bed, when I get to that point at the end of the day, the shit's cleared up.
Right.
Yeah. And it's nice.
Right. And
but it sure as hell didn't happen right away.
right. Right. Well, in the thing that I know that has happened at night when I've gone to bed like that and gone over it is,
Mhm.
thoughts I've had, about,
Mhm.
boy, I need to kind of straighten out my head about that because I
Mm.
wanted to blow up about something or this irritated me, but I didn't,
Right.
and I've had those type of thoughts where just, trying to basically figure out, why the fuck was I even irritated at the point where I could have said something to somebody,
Right. Yeah.
So I guess I've had those thoughts, but thankfully I just don't remember. I heard
Right. Well, I mean, you know what, that doesn't bother me all that much because, again, the thoughts are going to be there. The thoughts are fucked up. They're always going to be fucked up. But the actions aren't.
right.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have thought that, but you know what? I also don't beat myself up over that shit anymore either. Yeah, I had real fucked up thoughts about that, but hey, guess what? I didn't go off on the person.
Right.
I wanted to. Oh God, did I want to? But I didn't. And so that's enough for me at the end of the day.
Right.
You know what? Yeah, I had those thoughts and I shouldn't have, but fuck it. I did, but I didn't act on them.
Right.
So I'm all right. I thankfully, yes, my thoughts don't matter anymore. So I don't care that I had those bad, awful, evil thoughts that I wanted to fucking kill that person and punch him in the larynx and, yeah. But I didn't.
Right.
So it's okay. Yeah.
So, and we had talked about at one point where, and I think you might have said that, where thoughts like that, the angers and all those sort of things,
Mm-hmm.
you've said before that that comes from fear, right? Or is that
Oh, yeah.
some sort of fear? So, and maybe that's kind of what, and again, I try to figure out if anything, I'm like, what the hell's going on in my life to even make me boil like that over somebody? Because it's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not an important thing, but
Right.
it's tough. I mean, if that is the case, and I believe that, that we're fearful or whatever the case is, fear of
Mm-hmm.
something, but
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to figure out sometimes what that fear is, I mean, if that makes any sense.
It does, yeah. No, well, sometimes it's just the fear of I'm going to punch this motherfucker, because they're really acting stupid. And no, yeah. When you get down to it, I think, yeah, for example, someone's being really fucking stupid and irritating, and it's pissing you off. I think the fear is a lot of times for me is, fuck, do I act like that?
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That's a really good
Yeah.
point.
Am I that fucking stupid? Am I that self-centered and don't give a shit about anybody else? And yeah, I think it really but then I get to do that little inventory and I go, no, you know what? I'm not that stupid and I'm not that self-centered and self-involved and I get thankful and grateful and then I go to sleep.
Right. Well, and one of the hardest things too when we first got sober is when they told us that if there is somebody that you don't like or somebody's actions that
Mm-hmm.
you don't like, usually it's because of something that's within you or was, you could recognize
Mm-hmm.
that,
Right.
yourself in them, and that's a
Yep.
fucking hard thing to take a look at.
Oh yeah.
Because you see a situation where this person is like you said, stupid or lazy or taking advantage, whatever the case is,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
then you're looking at that
Right.
and you're like, fuck, man, that really bothers me. And
Uh-huh.
at one point I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all the three things that I just, listed off, I know I was that person,
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
absolutely. Me
like
too.
you said, grateful that I'm not, but then it is tough
Mm-hmm.
because then when you see things like that happen, you're just like, fuck, man, that I want to fix it. I don't want that to happen.
Right.
But again,
I want to shove a big book down their throat.
right. Listen, motherfucker, I have a book for you.
Right. I have a book for you that I'm going to hit you repeatedly with.
I'm going to beat you with it, then leave it, drop it on your chest, and and then
Yes.
suggest that you read it.
Yes.
Right. Right. But yeah, so I mean, but seriously, the 10 step, and that's one thing that, um, I mean, I really enjoy the readings. I enjoy that time I
Mm-hmm.
have. And you know, I've never had, and thankfully I've never had a situation where I don't feel like, you know, doing my readings or anything like that. Cause
Mm.
it brings me a peace and joy and happiness
Yeah.
and all that sort of things. And that's the same thing at night. You know, even if I'm someplace like, again, at mom's thing, you know, we're in this big, you know, big group of people and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I brushed my teeth and I did my shit. Then I went through my, you know, my little inventory and I did my shit,
Yep.
you know, and
Right.
it's important and I look forward to it. But I mean, I think that the 10 step, again, being able to, to me, it's almost a miracle
Mm.
and speaking of the growth, you know, that we've grown to the point where we can actually stop these fucking nasty words
Mm-hmm.
from coming out of our mouths. Actually
Right.
have that pause, have that filter, have that, you know, whatever it is that stops
Mm-hmm.
us, you know, thinking before we speak type of thing. I was never that way.
That choice.
Yeah. Wait, let me read that again. That was recovery gives us a sense. We sense that we have a choice.
Yes, that's right.
And we choose to have that choice, not to spit
Yeah.
venom at people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that blows my mind, the restraint that we have, and in a good way. And I don't know, that sounds weird when I say that. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything like that,
Mm.
but it's a huge accomplishment compared to what either one of us were 14 or 15 years ago. You
Right.
know,
Oh
so
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, but and like all the rest of it, man, it takes practice.
right.
We gotta work those muscles, man, to get them, because God knows they atrophied a long time ago. Yeah, but but that's just it. Over these years and years, we have worked these muscles, and we're better at it, and the muscles are stronger, and it's more of a sense, a muscle sense of yeah, when that thought hits, but you don't spit it out, because that sense is there to not do that,
Right.
which is very different than what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of, I mean, so many examples in my head, and I think it just with my exes and even my family and
Mm-hmm.
with mom and
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and
All
you
right.
know just whatever happens, just fucking shoot now and ask questions later. You know, it's really
Yep.
what it is. Just shoot your fucking mouth off, spit
Uh-huh.
venom all over fucking people,
Right.
and then sometimes you're like, sorry about that.
Yeah, right. Or or not, yeah, well, we deluded ourselves into going, well, I'm just being honest.
Right, right.
Right, which we've got to remember, honesty without compassion is cruelty.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
One of my favorite things that you've ever said. I think about that seriously. I think about that all the time, all the time.
Right.
But no, I mean, I do. I get not trying to pick out a favorite step, but the 10 step is it's one that
Mm.
I truly enjoy. All the other ones, there's so many other steps that I think just happen naturally, but the 10 step,
Hmm.
and maybe I'm just so, I don't know, if focused on it's because it's just a specific process, you know. I
Right.
sit down and or lay down at night, do my prayers, and then I know I'm doing a 10 step, and I don't know.
Hmm.
It just it's a life changer, and it saves my ass on
Right.
probably on a daily basis if I'm you know being completely honest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you know? You don't have resentments and shit and the nonsense built up because you get rid of it every day.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually go to sleep at night, that's the other
Uh-huh.
crazy thing. That is. So what else? Anything else on the 10 step? I mean, I know it's relatively, you know, simplistic, but
Hmm.
obviously important to us. But anything else we want to
I
dissect on
think
there?
we have covered it.
Cool. Well, you know what? And
Yeah.
I think
And you know
it's
what? Yeah, I
yeah.
know. Looking at the clock on the wall, I think it or the clock on the computer or the clock in my hand or
Right.
no, that's not a clock. That's a anyway. We're going to be back with more of this nonsense right after these words from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober, Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we
Two?
wanted to, 2 websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. And yes, back to more nonsense. Yay.
Yes.
You want to hear about me being a dick today? Since I
Absolutely.
Okay.
Since you teased that earlier, yeah.
So this was, and I've done stuff like this before, because you and I always talk about people and how they drive, and how mindless they are and stuff like that. So I went and got my pizza, and you've gone to that. You went to that Domino's with me.
Yeah.
And when we came out of that parking lot, usually you and I ended up taking a left and went back through town. Usually I take a right, take the first left, and it's kind of a back road to go through a subdivision to miss the busiest part of that area. Sometimes tough to get out of there and stop at lights, whatever. So I do that. I take the right and I take the left. So I'm on this back road going back to the subdivision, and I'm driving fully on my side of the road, on the right-hand side of the road. And this person in a fucking minivan turns out of the subdivision, again, probably, I don't know, block and a half ahead of me, but pulls and is literally driving down the middle of the road.
Yeah.
In a minivan. So I'm like, okay. So I'm coming up, get a little closer, and I took a weave right in front of her, probably 4 car lengths ahead, and you see her, she's like, and then moved over, and I'm just laughing, fucking laughing.
So where's the dick part come in?
I thought that was a dick trying to scare somebody, but
wake them up, man.
That's exactly what I did. It just I suppose it wasn't as bad as Walmart the one time when I was still in Germantown. I was pulling up the aisle, and it's an angled one, so I'm going in the correct direction, and this car's coming down, and just some fucking lady, and she's driving down the wrong way. So I'm like, I stopped right in the middle, and she's looking at me, and I just kind of like pushing my hand, like, back up.
Yeah.
And she did. Backed all the way back up. And I remember putting that on Facebook, and Heidi's like, she's like, oh, sometimes when people aren't paying attention like me, apparently she's done it. She's like, kids screaming in the car, whatever. I'm like, well, if it was you, it'd be a different story. And I'm like, probably not. But
no. All right. Well, don't tell my company this.
Okay.
But
shh, everyone be quiet.
No. Right. Okay. So, I'm sure 75% of the people listening to this don't know that you should never pass a truck on the right. I know 25% of you are going, yeah, of course. But the other, most of you are, anyway. So I'll be the 2-lane highway, right? I'll be in the left lane because I needed to get over for whatever reason. And I will hit my signal and look in my mirror. And some asshole who's been riding my ass in the left lane decides he's going to go and shoot around me on the right. Now I've already got my signal going, right? So he'll get about halfway up my trailer and I start moving over. I see him. I know he's there. I'm not going to hit him, but I start drifting ever so slowly. Asshole, don't pass me on the right.
You know, and here's the thing, and here's so again, going back to my dad, and you and I, you've driven with me enough, and I remember asking you, and we were God, only probably maybe even not even a year sober. We were driving from the three-quarter house over to the Keating Center for a meeting, and I remember asking you, I'm like, I said, are you cool with this? I said, the more I, because you ride with me all the time, but and I said, being a driver, I said, I said, are you, I don't know, judge, however I put it, and you said that you were comfortable with me, which I thought was.
I am, which is a rare thing because I'm, it is. I'm not generally comfortable with someone else driving, but you are one of the few exceptions.
And I mean, to me, that was fucking huge, Yeah. But here's the thing. So, and I drive like an ass every once in a while. I drive too fast. I've done things I shouldn't do, all those sort of things.
Right.
But my dad taught me a lot. My dad has driven. I don't think he ever drove any like semis with a trailer on it, but he's driven, the cab part.
Large vehicles.
Yeah, and he's driven actually because they used to take trucks like you drive and make them into dump trucks. So I mean, he's driven those, just not with the trailer on it.
Right.
And dump trucks and all those sort of things and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that I remember long before I ever got my license, we'd be driving along and, he said, he goes, it's a little different when I was younger and I started driving, he's like, speed limits were 75 and 80 and stuff like that. And, the cars weren't built like they are. And, he goes, he goes, the two hands on the wheel thing, he goes, it wasn't stupid. He goes, you get these cars were built for speed, but not handling, But he was always like, if I ever had a cup of coffee or whatever it was, and I think he'd probably make a joke, or if I was grabbing my beer, he said, he goes, I'd never take my eyes off the road and, take a drink and put it back and hands back on the wheel. So I remembered that. And even to this day, when I'm driving along, well, you know me, I've always got a cup of coffee. I never take my eyes off the road when I grab my coffee, And I mean, I'm always, again, if I cruise along with somebody, if I'm doing 90 miles an hour or something like that, I put both fucking hands on the wheel.
Right.
I mean, you don't fucking know.
Right.
And he taught me the thing with trucks, flashing the lights and they'll flash you back and all that sort of things. And every once in a while, if you do that to them, when you're pulling around, they give you the flash and you hit the hazards and to say thank you to them, He's like, he goes, that person, that truck just thanked me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So if I see a truck like that stuck in a left-hand lane, I'll move over because I'll see all these fucking cars passing people or passing these trucks on the right. And I'll go in the right-hand lane and I'll flash my lights a couple of times and then just sit right back there so he could see me. And then usually 80% of the time they'll move over and they'll thank you and I go around,
Right.
Sometimes you're sitting there for
supposed to be.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes you're sitting there for fucking 3 miles and the guy's just sitting there. I'm like, this guy's a dumb fuck. Then I'll go. Then I'll go around.
Oh yeah. Then you blow past them and flip them off as you go by. No. That's perfectly fine.
No, but
just because you have a CDL doesn't mean you have a brain.
But the other thing I do is, even if that happens, if I'm on a 3-lane highway like that and the truck's in the middle and I end up, getting pushed over to the right, before I'll come over into that left-hand lane again, I'll go up, 3-4 car lengths and then put my blinker on so I make sure he sees me. Before I turn back in front, because I've seen your dash cams, I've seen Tony's, I've seen all these people's. I'm like, I know what's going through your fucking minds. Like, some fucking car comes out of fucking nowhere, So
yeah, right, cuts right in front of you, and hey, asshole, I'm the one that's going to run over you because I can't stop that fast.
Right? Yeah.
I know. Yep.
But
so where were you, Dick?
Yeah, well,
I still don't. Whatever.
Okay, so maybe I wasn't a dick. So I just I had some fun.
Sometimes you have to show people that they're doing something wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, let me redo my note. I woke up a driver today.
Yes. And hopefully they were a better driver for it.
Yeah, she should just say thank
Probably
you.
not, but yeah, she should.
She should just say fucking
Absolutely.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I did that. I did that one other time. Come to think of it, when I was pulling down the street where I used to live in Germantown, same deal. It was a fucking minivan again, driving down the middle of the road. It's
Right.
fucking just terrible. But yeah, okay. So I guess let me take that
Uh-huh.
back. I was not.
Right.
I was not a dick.
Grab a cup of coffee. No,
So-
they're sitting there staring at their phones, doing 75 down the fucking freeway.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about Cinema Wasteland from last week. I want to hear about that.
Cinema Wasteland. Cinema Wasteland was fun once again. Actually, I had 3 different people come up to me. One of them was the couple that I met last year or last
Really?
time. Yeah, they were there again. There's a lot of repeat people. It's people go all the time. You know, it's one of the T-shirts is Wasteland is family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right. So yep, they came by and said hi. I posted on Facebook. My favorite quote from the weekend was a different couple came up and the guy looked at me and goes, "Hey, you're the sober but still funny guy." I said, "Yeah, that's right. That's us. Sober, not mature."
Yeah, I saw the Facebook thing, and I was if you didn't bring that up when you were talking about it, now I was gonna remind you of that. Made me laugh. That made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, that was great. It made me laugh at the time. Hey, you're the sober but still funny. That's right. we are not a glum lot.
Right.
That's right, pal. Yeah, there was another couple too, and the couple from last time actually we were talking and whatever, blah 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 blah, and I had a couple of bracelets and a couple of pens in my
nice.
trunk, so yeah, I got those to them. So we've got more people walking around with our stuff.
Cool.
Stuff that you can order from our store. What is that store again, Bill?
That would be SoberNotMatureShop.com.
All right. Bonus.
But I'll have to bring that out. So yeah, because when I come out there for the clam bake, do you think we'll have time to wonder if are we gonna have time to do the Jean Marie House thing with the books, or will they be at the They'll just be
Oh yeah,
be at the clam bake.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, Michelle's the director there now, so she'll be at the clam bake.
No, I know, but I was just wondering as I thought about that, because we want to be able to obviously hand it out to the residents there, but they should have. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, the girls will be there serving and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Last board meeting we had, Marty said he's going to have the girls serve. It's not going to be the line like it's been in the past, so that will not be a problem.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll bring those, and then I'll bring some more, pens and bracelets and stuff like that that you can have, or we can, whether we hand them out to people there or just you can have them. It's cool. But yeah, so the 3 couples that came up, and the one about Silver's still funny. That made me laugh. But so in general, how did Chris do with her stuff though?
It wasn't our best show, but she did okay.
That's cool.
We're gonna be back in the spring, so
right.
Yep. She's got more ideas for stuff. She's all, yeah, I got to come back. I got all this stuff in my head I got to make. So,
yep. No, it's just, I know it's a lot. It's a lot of fun for her, and it's become a lot of fun for you. So, yeah, it's just, it's nice. I mean, especially, and then on top of that, having just these fucking random people. But I mean, again, obviously the couple from last year, but just having random people come up like that, and I don't know. That's
again, it's the horror community, and the Mummy and the Monkey are there, and they run our promos, so a lot of people watch them, and so they've seen it from that, and yeah. It's a tight knit community, and we're all creepy and kooky and mysterious and ooky. So, yep.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
that's
a good
cool.
time.
That's good. Yeah, and speaking about our store and stuff like that, or I guess easing into the Hazelden thing I talked about. So we've got actually, and I haven't done the post yet on Instagram or any social media or Facebook or anything like that yet, but I will. But we approached, well, first of all, let me step back. We approached Hazelton shit over a year ago
Right.
to become a authorized retailer for their books. So we
Right.
have all
Mm-hmm.
the books they read, all the Hazelden books we have
Right.
on our store. We've got some of the merchandise on there, and again, if you guys are looking for anything like that, our pricing, I'll be honest with you, you can look around. You're probably going to find it cheaper in some cases. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
if it's on sale, you find a little bit less. But we
Right.
have it available. We're an authorized retailer, and one of the reasons we did it is because we believe in Hazelden and the books
Mm-hmm.
and all those sort of things. And it just, on top of it, I mean, they're the authority in recovery shit, right? I mean, when it comes to
Right.
readings and merchandise. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The
um,
literature. Absolutely.
yeah, it was a huge
It's
honor,
second only to the official AA stuff.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
so huge honor for us to be able to be partnered on that level. And
Mm-hmm.
then a few months ago, what Mike and I were talking about was we were trying to figure out some way to donate to the recovery community, but try to do it on a national basis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Keating Center is always our number one. We give money.
Sure.
I just did that for my birthday thing. I think you do every year.
Mm-hmm.
So we gain money through or raise money through Facebook and all the events. Anything we can help out with, they're our number one. But
Right.
we wanted to have an opportunity through our website. If anyone out there, wants to donate to a national organization, which is Hazelden, and it's actually
Mm-hmm.
the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. So,
Right.
for anyone that doesn't know, most people have heard of the Betty Ford Clinic. If nothing else, it's been
Mm-hmm.
part of a joke in over
Sure.
the years. But the Betty Ford Clinic is now part of Hazelden, so it's the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we approached them a few months ago, and it was an undertaking. I'll call it a big deal only in the sense of what they had to go through,
Sure.
how to allow us to donate, and I mean that, how to allow us to donate.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, you can't do it if you do a merchandise sale type of this. There's all this red tape and paperwork and legal shit,
Yeah. Right.
which neither one of us thought of. So we don't do that. And then their idea, Hazelden said, if we can do it, if we can get this approved, we'll set up a donation page strictly for you guys. And then you can
Uh-huh.
put it on your website and then promote it. And I'm like, cool. And it
Right.
took 3 months. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
June when we first approached them, because
Yeah. Sounds about
we
right.
wanted to do something in the summer, because they're like, oh, we got this, there's September and there's October and there's all. I'm like, we'd like to do something sooner than later.
Sure.
But anyhow, so
Because we're impatient.
right, it's just we want to help.
We want to help, man. There's a fucking change for you.
Right. Yeah. Getting fucking anxious to try to help somebody make money or get donations. But so after a few months and a lot of work, and I'm sure there are lawyers and shit involved, and
Yeah.
that's honest to God truth. They set up a donation page for us, and we just got it set up on our website. Finished it up, yes, actually today. So
Mm-hmm.
on our main website, not our merchandise website, but our main
Right.
website, which is
Mm-hmm.
SoberNotMature.com. If you go to
Mm-hmm.
that website, look up on top, you're going to see in the menu item, if it's on mobile, do the drop down, you'll see Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. Click on
Yep.
that. There's a page, and it gives a little bit of background on Hazelden, what they do, who they help. And then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see at the bottom of that 2 areas you can click. One, you can click to donate. This money does not go through us. If you look at it, once you
Nope.
hit that donation page, it's going directly to them. We have no
Mm-hmm.
hands on that money at all.
Nope.
As it turns out, they needed it that way,
Uh-huh.
and it turns out being better because we don't have to fuck with
Yeah,
it,
right.
quite honestly.
Yeah.
And then,
Right. Yeah.
but then right below that, if you do want to purchase any Hazelden merchandise or books, then that goes to our web store. That's right underneath, and it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to fake
Right.
anyone out. I mean, it says
No,
donate
no.
to them, and it says also if you want to buy books. But
Right.
we'll start posting that up on social media. But our goal here is, once again, Hazelden helps a lot of people. They got clinics, they do outreaches all over the place.
Yep.
It's a lot of shit going on, and it's all part of the recovery community. So whether you're in the sober curious to the gray to the full blown alcoholic to the AA to the whatever the fuck you do, if you're
Mm-hmm.
anywhere in the recovery community, at some point they probably touched a part of your life, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep. You or family or whatever. Yeah. Somebody read a book or went to one of their clinics, or yes, absolutely. They help a lot of people in a lot of ways, and we're just trying to help them out a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and again, just and I, both of us. I mean, seriously, it's an honor. I mean, it seems kind of cheesy to say it, but it is.
No, it is.
It's an honor to be able to, in knowing and shit. I mean, going back and forth with these emails with this dude, he was really cool about the whole thing, and he was just. I had a phone call with him whenever it was back in the early summer, and he went through all the
Right.
scenarios, very transparent, very open with me. And these people, when we first, because I just got asked by Elise from the Sober Curator, I don't know, like a month or so ago. She's like, how in the hell did you guys ever get to sell Hazelden books? And I said, seriously? She's like, yeah, seriously. I said, we asked. She's like, that's it. I'm like, well, that wasn't it. But yeah,
Right.
I kind of knocked on their door and said, hey, we want to sell your books.
Yep. Yeah.
And literally at that time, she's like, the lady that I talked to, who are you? What do you do? What does this pertaining?
Couple of drunks that talk out into the internet once a week.
Right.
But we want to help. We want to spread the word. Yeah.
And the funniest part is she's like, I don't even know how to designate you guys. And she goes,
welcome to our world.
I know. She's like, this is again with the book sales, not with the donation part. But she said, she said, if I can get this approved, she's like, she goes, we deal with brick and mortar stores and recovery groups. She's like, I don't know how to designate you. And for the life of me, I can't remember what I don't know what they did, but we got approved for it.
Right.
But the same thing with this. They do these promotions. There's a lot of groups that do this, but it's usually it's recovery groups. So they literally had to build a page for us, which again, the more I think about it, I'm just it's an honor. So
yeah, it is. It is. And it just goes to show, you get, you want to do a right thing, and you just kind of point it out to somebody, and they're going to help you do it, and it's going to get done.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. and once again, I mean, just knowing that, and I can't say it enough, and I know Mike feels the same way. I mean, how much Hazelden as a group means to us. And again, if nothing else, the books, but, we understand where all the work that they do, but even if it's on the most simplistic level, that every single day starts out with Hazelden for us every day, so they're a big fucking deal to us.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And like you said, the Betty Ford Clinic, I mean, it was a goddamn punchline for years and years.
Right.
Going to Betty Ford.
Right.
And for you kids that don't know, Betty Ford was Gerald Ford's wife. She was the first lady of the country. And she's one of us. She was one of those, she was drinking cologne and shit. Yeah, she's got a real interesting story. Wikipedia that shit.
I don't even think that I ever read that story. I might have to do that myself. So,
but, yeah. She was swilling cologne in the White House.
Well, my dad. I've told people stories about this before, and I know you've heard it or seen it. But he said that people used to take bread and strain the cologne through the bread to try to get some of the whatever it is, the chemicals and shit out of there.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the wrong kind of fucking alcohol. It's wood alcohol. It'll make you fucking go blind, but it'll fuck you up.
Right. Is it really? It's wood alcohol? I guess I never knew that.
Oh yeah. It's rubbing alcohol. It's not like corn it's wood alcohol.
Yeah.
Isopropyl or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. 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 It's cologne. It's rubbing alcohol.
Right.
But again, it'll give you a buzz.
Well, that reminds me of the dude that in the Keating Center that downed like half a bottle of Scope and Giant Eagle. Do you remember that?
No. And it's Scope. Yeah. Well, whatever, man. You got to use Listerine. Come on, get it right, dude.
I think I'm pretty sure it was Scope, and it was the dude that used to fix all the bikes at the Keating Center. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember him. Sure.
Yeah, because he came back to the house and stuff like that, and he was fucking balling to somebody that he relapsed, and just in my head, I'm like, and I got it. I mean, again, all these stories from my dad: the cologne, the Scope, all this different shit, or Listerine or whatever it is. But I was just like, I'm like, and again, being so newly sober, we were still halfway at the time. I know we were,
Oh
and
yeah.
in my head, I'm like, you fucking wasted a relapse on scope.
Yep.
that was my thought. I mean, that's kind of fucked up, but even in my head right now, I'm like, God, really? But
Yeah,
that's
no doubt. Well, I mean, you're at the Keating Center, you got no fucking money.
right.
Walk in and grab the bottle off the shelf and chug it down.
Yeah.
I mean, I I remember there was a few times in my life I'd wake up at some broad's house and fucking morning and
yeah.
I need a fucking pop. And there's that bottle of Listerine in the bathroom. I'll chug half that down to get me out the door. And I did.
You know what? I think I remember you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I never. The only thing that I ever did while I was still drinking was like, if I had a cold, taking
Uh-huh.
whatever the dosage was of NyQuil, I never paid attention
Ah,
to it. I just take a
no,
fucking
no.
big ass drink of it and
Oh, yeah.
fucking go to bed. And it never helped me. It didn't help me sleep. Probably because I
No.
was. But
Well, the thing with that stuff, not that I know anything about this, is yes, it has alcohol in it, but it's got all that other shit in it, decongestant and stuff, and you do too much of it and it wires you up,
oh,
despite the alcohol in it. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Again, not that I know anything about that,
Right.
but yes,
And,
drinking a bottle of NyQuil, not a swig. Drink the bottle,
Right.
Put it down. Yep, it'll get you going.
that has to have your body just going in 17 different directions, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So how do we get on scope?
Good times.
Betty Ford. Oh yeah, Betty Ford and Cologne.
Yes,
Hazelden.
yes.
Okay, let's get back to the serious part. Go to our website.
Uh-huh.
Sober, not
so you so you don't end up fucking drinking a bottle of NyQuil.
Right. Or for those out there that are drinking NyQuil right now, the
Right.
Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation can help. That's a wonderful
can.
advertisement for them.
Yes, it is.
But no, literally go to our SoberNotMature.com. Drop down menu on mobile. If you're on the desktop, you'll see it up on top. Click through.
Yep.
It's that it's that page. And over the next, if not tomorrow, certainly by the beginning of the week, I'll start posting it on Instagram and Facebook. So, and I think on Instagram, I'll end up just pinning that post right to the top. So if anyone visits our Instagram page at any point next week, that should be the first pinned post on our Instagram page, and you'll be able to click through, and I'll put it in our highlights and all that good stuff. So, but yeah.
I mean, basically, it's just we're just trying to point people, if you're wondering how you can help make this world a little bit better.
Yeah.
Throw a couple of bucks. Doesn't have to be a lot. Doesn't have to, whatever you feel comfortable with. But you want to contribute to the good of the world and help battle this disease that we have and many of you have as well, or someone you love has. You want to help. That's all it is, man. Throw a couple bucks their way because they do good work.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
All right. See, now that wrapped up nicely. All the shit that we ran that through, and you wrapped that up nicely. So thank you. All right. So I think we got those little things that I want to talk about. All right. So
yeah,
there is something that I wrote down part of this a while ago, and then this just came up again. I was listening to just bits and pieces of a podcast today. So a lot of, and I know we've talked about this, I think at least in a general sense, but a lot of podcasts it almost seems like they always talk about trauma and what a person was running from or that sort of thing. And basically a lot of the podcasts are focusing on placing, at least and these are all my opinions, but it feels like everyone's trying to place a reason, even place, let's say, a blame on why a person drank or used. So,
right.
And you and I have talked about this in in a general sense, that we don't think we drank over anything, but I want to go through that again. But I was just I thought it'd be worth a conversation, only because that nobody ever, and I don't think, not even think, I know we're not unique. We're not the only ones to think this, but it just seems to be the norm that if you walk in a recovery room, everyone's looking for the reason why you drink, trying to place it on something.
Sure.
Okay. It's a trauma.
Right.
It's a divorce. It's a childhood thing. This podcast I listened to today, which kind of made me think about it again and added to it. And this lady, I read I read kind of the thing. She's like, oh, she's from Wisconsin. You know, as he started opening with what it was, he does this intro and then he does the interview and then whatever. So in his
Mm-hmm.
intro, and this is without the person on the podcast. He's like, oh, and she, was born in Wisconsin and the hot drinking culture, and of course she became an
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah, right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, you and I have talked and all that stuff. I mean, but it's Wisconsin, it's Cleveland. You were from Detroit. You lived in fucking
Yep.
Los Angeles and San Francisco and
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento and all these other
Right.
fucking places,
Yep.
But she starts going on. She's like, well, my parents were alcoholics and they met in a beer tent. So, and then,
Mm-hmm.
this small town I lived in, she's like, there's more bars than churches. Now, everything she's
Uh-huh.
saying about that, I just mentioned that a couple weeks ago when we were talking.
Right.
All those things are
Mm-hmm.
true, but I mean, people aren't fucking alcoholics because there's 4 bars in a small fucking town. I mean,
No.
they're just not. And so that
Right.
part of it was kind of the irritant thing. But okay, so back to
Uh-huh.
like the trauma thing and stuff like that. The only thing I was thinking is just your mindset again on that, and then I just think it'd be a conversation about the fact that there doesn't have to be blame put on somebody or something, right?
No, there shouldn't be blame put on someone or something. Excuses, man. I mean, and I know I'm speaking for both of us. We drink because we like the effect. We want to fucking feel good all the time. Um, yes, traumas in my life. Yeah, of course, everybody. That's life. Life is traumatic. And some of us, no, I drank because I wanted to get fucked up. It doesn't matter why. I wanted to escape being uncomfortable. I wanted to be comfortable. It all comes down to it. You can find excuses. There are no excuses. The excuse is I'm selfish, self-centered, and I want to feel good all the time, or I don't want to feel bad, or I'm trying to cover up something, my bad feelings, whatever they may be, from wherever. That's why we work the steps, man. That's why we do that 8th step that we talked about, that we have to forgive the people that hurt us. Yeah, doesn't matter. The bottom line is we don't want to feel pain, any pain, to whatever degree that pain is. Some is worse than others. Thankfully, ours wasn't as bad as some people, but same thing. We didn't want to feel any pain at all. I mean, it's, feeling no pain, man. Yeah, that's it. I want to live my fucking life feeling no pain.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work, and then it comes to a point where it's, the substance takes over. We are chemically and bodily and mentally different than our fellows. And so it gets to a point where we can't just go, I can't do this anymore. It's causing too much harm. The pain reduction is causing too much harm to myself. I need to stop. We can't do that. Like the book says, man, given sufficient reason, we couldn't stop on our own. I had plenty of reasons to stop drinking. I couldn't do it at the end. Could not stop, no matter what. And, but so I work a program of recovery and haven't found it necessary to take a drink or a drug in over 13 years. Woohoo. Something works.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel pain, but, not like I used to, and when I do feel pain, I have ways to deal with it. Thanks to the program, yeah, finding an excuse. I was traumatized. Fuck, we were all traumatized. Get over it. And the best way to do it, and it is the program, do something for somebody else. It still doesn't make sense. How does that make my life better? I'm feeling like shit. I'm going to go make somebody else feel better. And then I don't feel like shit. It's that fucking simple, people.
Right.
It is. It really, really is. I have trauma. Well, you know what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to go make somebody else feel better. And my trauma doesn't matter because I'm not focused on it. Stop thinking about it. Stop blaming. Stop. Be a better person. Do something nice for somebody else, and your life gets better. It's that simple.
Right.
Stop focusing on the bad shit that happened 20 years ago or yesterday or 5 minutes ago. Is it happening right now? Well, then it's okay. It's all right. It's not happening right now. Then it's not happening. That's all.
Well, and here's the other thing too is that, and we've talked to plenty of people on here. We've had guests on here, and we've heard plenty of leads, hundreds, if not thousands of leads. Thousands of stories, if nothing else. Maybe not leads,
Right.
but of people who got sober and then figured out other things. You were talking about that individual that you knew that, medication, this and that, even the shit out, we've known people that found out, well, shit, I'm fucking bipolar. I got to take care of that shit. We found people that once they got sober and maybe they had a childhood thing or whatever that was still fucking with their head. Now they had a clear head to be able to deal with that, So, but the key was in all these stories is the person got sober first. But here's the flip side of the coin. There's millions and millions of people out there that are not alcoholics that have had trauma, so the two are not intermingled. That's the thing. Now, people say, well, I drank at it because I was upset. Okay, maybe, whatever. Everyone's got their case of their fuckets and all that sort of stuff, but they're two separate things. The thing that bothers me is that I have, and I don't think, hopefully everyone understands, neither one of us have any issue with somebody seeking, help or counseling or mental health or anything like that.
No, of course not.
Seeking help to deal with any issues that you had. The thing that bothers me though is that rather than somebody realizing that those are more than likely, I'm not going to say 100%, but more than likely separate events, the alcoholism and whatever, is that it just seems like all of these. And it bothers me. I listen to so many of these podcasts, and they're good. They're good people, and they're great stories. But it's like the question always is: in every podcast that you and I have been guests on, that gets brought up every single time. And with Mackenzie was like the coolest one, the last one we had, the for Raw Thoughts, because she asked, and she's like, that's interesting though that you say that you had all these dark times, but you don't consider it depression. So she asked another question, just like, why do you say that? And I'm like, this is why. Because I had my moments and stuff like that, but I was drinking my ass off and doing all these different things. And I'm like, I understand people have had true, these true problems, this true depression, this clinical shit.
Sure.
And I wasn't about to place I don't know, an excuse on the reason I was acting that way. I was drinking my ass off, which probably made me depressed. I wasn't.
No, alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't going to lay that excuse on there because it doesn't matter to me. But the thing of it is, it I don't even know if bothers me is the right way to put it. But I just don't understand that everyone wants to seem to say, okay, why do you drink? What happened to you? Why do you drink? What trauma did you go through? It doesn't have to be that, So I guess that's our point, is that if you're looking for a reason why you drank, to Mike's point, it doesn't fucking matter. Take care of your shit first. And if there's still stuff for you to take care of, guess what? Now you're going to have a clear head to be able to figure it out.
Absolutely.
So
clear mind, clear body, exactly. Conscious and soul. And then you can take care of the rest of it. And yes, it doesn't. Yeah. Like you said, man, they're separate issues. They truly are. They truly, truly are. And if you can't separate them, then that's a problem you need to work on.
Right.
Yeah. Cause they are different. They're different. Because like you said, there's plenty of people that were traumatized that aren't alcoholics. And there's plenty of alcoholics that weren't traumatized.
Right. Yeah, it reminds me of one of those word problems. If X equals Y and Y sometimes equals X, does that mean X equals, wait, what? No.
What? No.
I'm just going to say no. Next question.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a Venn diagram. Yes. There's it certainly intersects in a lot of places, but they are separate issues.
Right.
Yeah. Again, just our opinion, but yeah, opinions are like assholes, and we're assholes, and that's our opinion.
Right. And and the thing of it is, and I every time we talk about this stuff, I try to make it clear, and I know we both do, that we're not minimizing somebody who went through trauma and stuff like that. It's just that it's just the whole point of it bothers me when somebody says, okay, that let's find the reason why you drank. Well, why don't you just take care of me first, and then let's figure out all this other garbage once I can see. I mean, the room's still full of fucking smoke. Get me out of the smoke first, and then we'll figure out how the fire started.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And and it is and it is my opinion, yeah, that true alcoholics like us, yeah, we're born that way. It's our bodies and our minds react differently. Once we put in, we can't stop. We want more. The normies. My girlfriend Chris, she has half a glass of wine and goes, "Ooh, I'm starting to feel it. I got to stop." No, right? We're wired differently.
Right.
We're starting to feel it. We want more. Yes, that's all. It's weird. It's a chemical. It's not. It's not from a life thing. We're born this way. We're different. We're wired differently. We're chemically different, just like people who are depressed or have schizophrenia or any of that. We're chemically different. There are different compositions to a normal person, whatever the hell that is.
Right.
Someone that's wired up right. There's my big giant air quotes for the episode. They're wired correctly.
And you and I have talked about this. I think we've talked about it on here, but I'm sure that you and I have talked about it individually. To begin with, I wrestled with that. I not wrestled with it. It bothered me even when people like, well, your dad was, and you're this and that. And I mean, okay, so I just got to the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck why,
Right.
whether it's hereditary or not, whether it's, whether it was by environment, whether it was whatever it was, I don't care. I mean, the thing I care about now, the only thing I'm focused on is that I know what I am. I know what to do, and I'm part of it, and that's it. That's all I have to know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thoroughly convinced it's genetic, and it's not like, well, my mom was an alcoholic, so I'm an alcoholic. Well, my mom was an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic. My sister isn't an alcoholic. She has blue eyes. My mom had hazel eyes. I have brown eyes.
Right.
What the fuck, man? It's
Right.
got nothing, yes, it is genetic, and it's got nothing to do with anything other than, yes, my genes are put together in a way where alcohol affects me differently than other people.
Right.
To the point where I can't, as Mark Maron says, safely drink and use. Some people can, I can't.
Right. Yeah, and it was kind of it was the thing though. It kind of wrestled in my head. Not that I was trying to fight it, but
Sure.
again, me being the why person that I am. But I just got to the point where somebody's like, okay, it is genetic, cool. Or it's based on your upbringing, fine. I mean, it's done. I mean, I know who I am, and the thing that I do know, which leads me to believe that there might be something to what you have to say. I'm just going to say that is that I know now, and I figured this out years ago, but I never drank normally. Never. From the first time I took a sip of alcohol or snuck it as a kid to the last drinks I took before I was dragged to detox. I never took a drink. I never had just one. I never enjoyed a glass of anything, just for the pure flavor and ecstasy or what. You see these people on TV, the fucking wine connoisseurs and the this and that and the smelling and the. I don't even understand wine glasses. What's the fucking point? Okay, so I'm rewatching Ozark, okay, on Netflix. And one of the main characters, the wife of Jason Bateman, she drinks wine a lot, and they drink wine again and whatever. But Kathy's got glasses like this. They're big, to the point where she literally has to tip her whole head back to take a drink. And I'm like, why? I'm like, why? You literally have to tilt your whole fucking head back to take a drink of that wine, because if she tried to tilt the glass up, it would hit her forehead. She still wouldn't get any liquid out of it. You know what I'm talking about? The big wine glasses, the deep ones. And I'm like, one of the funniest leads, and you'll probably remember this. The guy said at the end, a mixed drink was, and he, was pretending to, little, I don't know, whiskey, soda, and then his mixed drink was him shaking the liquid around in his mouth. And I'm like, that I can relate to. I mean,
absolutely.
Towards the end, I drank out of a little fucking plastic Waukesha County Fair cup. I mean, I didn't care.
Right.
Give a fuck.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, glasses just fucking slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
Put an extra step in there. It's already in a bottle. Just put it to your lips and pull it back, man.
Right. Yeah. And if you need to cut it with something, just have a thing of soda next to you. Just don't.
Yeah. Right.
It works.
Yeah. Shot in a beer.
Right.
That was me, man. Take a hit off the bottle, then take a hit off a beer.
Right.
That was a mixed drink.
Yeah. I come to think of it, I did that a lot.
I want my chaser to have alcohol in it too.
Right. That's actually.
How's that for a real alcoholic, motherfuckers?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, seriously, I mean, yeah. And, people putting, it's like on the rocks or neat or this and that. I'm like, fuck, I just drank it. I just
put a sprig of mint in it.
Right. And the funny thing, I didn't know, in honest to God's truth, I didn't know what the word neat meant until after I got sober. Because I never ordered a drink that way. And I start seeing it on TV shows and movies. And I'm like, what the fuck is neat? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, that's just the liquor in the glass. I'm like, oh,
straight shot.
So I used to drink my whiskey neat.
Yes.
And I did.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Although I did use the term neat.
You did?
Because I wanted to make it very clear I didn't want anything in there but the booze.
It just, to this day, the word is just so fucking stupid. I mean, I've heard, I remember hearing like straight up, it's the same deal. But yeah, when people say, when you say neat, I'm like, what the literally, I don't know how sober or how many years how sober. I don't know how many years I was sober, but it wasn't right away. And I know I was after I got sober that, I heard the word neat. I seriously, what the fuck is that? Yeah. Neato. All right. I've got other stuff. There's another thing on here, but I don't want to light another fire this late in the episode because this will be a fire lighter. This has been sitting on my list for a while, but we'll get into this another time. So,
smoldering.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. What? Oh God, how do we start that off? Steaming ball of hot
steaming ball.
Hot steaming ball of gas.
Ball of gas.
Yeah, that's what this. Yeah, that's what this bitch is. So anyhow. So the last thing though is the thing that your whole out statement that Breeze did for us, which is which is kind of cool. So we might as well figure this out now. I think that you're still going to read it off every episode.
Okay.
But, I mean, if you want, it's up to you because I think it's it's fun to do that. But what I can do, the end of our episode after we all say goodbye, the only thing that was I don't even remember what our quote unquote outro now says. I think it just thanks people for listening and visit our websites or whatever.
Right.
Fuck it. I don't care. I can drop your thing in there at the end too and just have that play right after we're done. We say our goodbyes and then that'll play again. I don't know that people will listen to that all the way through. I don't know if people listen to the end of it, but unless we would just want to say,
well, clearly a lot of people don't, because when we have guests on, they go, "Oh yeah, I listen," and then I do that, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Right. So I think unless we would actually put that like in the middle of an episode, people probably. I do the same thing. I don't necessarily listen to close out a podcast that I listen to, but we'll figure it out down the road. But I think this week I will have dropped it at the end of this episode anyhow.
Cool.
So just to see how it fits in there. Okay.
Nice. Sounds like a plan, man.
All right. So, but yeah, you still gotta read your shit. So put your glasses on, turn your lights on so you can see. And
well, it's on my phone, so it's already illuminated.
I know, just fucking with you. All right.
And hey, my glasses are already on.
Right. Your turn, brother.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out there, do something nice for somebody else, and don't tell anybody about it. Like maybe donating to Hazelton. And now it is time. It is time, people, for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever.
You put a little bit of oomph at the end of that one again too. I like that.
I did.
But everyone too is Breeze is the one that did the, and if you want to hear what we're talking about, just stick around for literally a minute and a half after we say
The
our
fuck
goodbyes.
off remix.
Yeah, it is. And
It is.
our guests, Breeze and Carly from a couple weeks ago. Breeze is a musician and puts a background shit in it, and it's pretty fucking cool.
It is.
If you get a chance, look at that episode with Breeze and Carly and look her up on Instagram and follow her, support them. We appreciate all that she did for us. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we're done though, right?
I believe we are.
All right, man.
I gotta go watch The Mummy and the Monkey.
Yeah, well, we're done early tonight too, man. We got started an hour early, so it's kind of fucking weird. But all right, I love you, brother.
I love you too.
All right,
we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here.
Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.